It's one woman's foul-mouthed meltdown over a request to wear a mask.
I don't give a
Police and witnesses say this chaos, throwing meat and groceries from a shopping cart, erupting at a Fiesta grocery store on Illinois near Westmoreland in Oak Cliff on Saturday. The witness who shot this video says the unidentified customer got upset near checkout when a manager asked her to wear a mask. A mask the woman is actually seen holding in her hand as she makes a mess, then storms out. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Fiesta's been enforcing a public mask ordinance which says a face covering that covers the nose and mouth will be required inside its stores. According to one security guard we talked to, that incident isn't isolated. She says there have been several mask-related confrontations out here. Some other North Texas businesses are also seeing customers lash out over mask rules. Back on June 6th, Cedar Hill police say a man assaulted a worker at a business when he was asked to put on a mask.
Good evening, I'm Deborah Knapp. This is the second violent incident we've seen this week connected to someone not wearing a face mask here in San Antonio. Eyewitness News reporter Henry Ramos shares this latest chaos and the response from local leaders.
A blow-up over masks. A woman inside this 99-cent store in North San Antonio recording a fiery exchange Wednesday afternoon.
Texas governor said you don't need.
This man refusing to wear a mask inside the store, saying the Texas governor says he doesn't need one. But there are signs on the door stating masks are required.
You think I'm scared?
The man seconds later goes after a customer recording on his phone. The two shove one another and end up against the Coke machines. KENS 5 is blurring the man's face because he has not been charged with the crime.
I'm trying to record me. That's invading my personal private.
A woman who was with the man posted to Facebook saying they were denied entry after stating they had medical exemptions to wear a mask. She says nobody was ever hit.
Parts of the country that are now instituting new mandatory mask regulations. Washington State and North Carolina among the latest. According to our new ABC News poll with Ipsos, 9 out of 10 Americans say they've worn a mask in public in the last week, but there's some partisan divide. 99% of Democrats compared to 79% of Republicans say they've worn a face covering. Matt Gutman is in Los Angeles with more on the mask division across the country. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Michael. And somehow wearing a mask has become this political flashpoint, even though doctors at hospitals like this remind us that the purpose of these masks is to protect others from our germs. And that's one reason that an increasing number of governors across the country are making wearing these mandatory, as increasing number of their constituents are rebelling against it.
Are you going to allow the government to tell you you have to wear a mask?
You could call it a mask mutiny.
Wearing a mask can actually cause you to get sick. So
Wearing a mask can actually cause you to get sick.
yes, absolutely.
That claim may be false, but the growing refusal to cover one's face is triggering a crackdown. After scenes like these when Las Vegas reopened, Nevada's governor now making masks mandatory across the entire state, and he's not the only governor. Wearing a face covering in public, now mandatory in 18 states. It's a requirement that's making some people very unhappy.
You literally cannot mandate somebody to wear a mask.
In Palm Beach County, Florida, where a mask ruling just went into effect, residents up in arms.
The fact of the matter is, it's our bodies, it's our choice whether we're going to wear them, not wear them. You guys are overstepping your boundaries 100%.
They're not supposed to wear them. That's not true. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Even the school requires children under the age of 10 not to wear them. So why would I make them wear them? Why? It's being ridiculous. Y'all still. You're so ridiculous. All time. You take care of yourself. Bye. All time. You're going to kill me. That's such a great thing to say to somebody. But I'm wearing a mask. Yeah. Good for you. Bye.
Here in southeast Wisconsin, we saw many customers wearing one heading into Menards, where it's mandatory.
If you see someone who's not wearing a mask, what do you think?
Well, at this point in the game, they're taking a chance.
And for those not wearing one, they could be subjected to mask shaming.
So you would call someone out?
I will. I'll be honest with you. I'm very aggressive about that.
Some told us they don't want the confrontation. Others are turning to social media. This post on Nextdoor talked about a mask shaming incident at the New Berlin Walmart, where a customer was apparently chastised. More than 100 people commented with varying opinions.
What happens if you see someone not wearing it?
I tend to want to get back like this. I just, I'm game conscious because I never know if I'm going to get it or not.
They just told me I couldn't be in the store without it.
Oh, you got kicked out?
Right.
Even though Menards sells masks inside for $1, Tom Gorzalski says he's not a fan.
When you're not here, what do you do?
I don't wear it.
Doctors recommend it.
So it's required in hospitals unless you have a medical reason to not wear it. You have to wear it unless you have a medical reason not to wear it. It's required in hospitals. Yes. It doesn't matter. That's their policy. So you signed a contract with Costco. You signed a contract with Costco. No, but I just need you to put that on for now while you're in the building. That's all. Just temporarily while you're in here, and then you can take it right back off. No, it doesn't cover your face, ma'am. You have to protect our employees. So you need to have it on while you're doing your transaction. You have to put your mask on while you do your transaction. You can take it off. No, you have to put it across your face. Unless you have a medical reason. There's much reason you don't have a medical reason. You do? I'm 77 years old. I'm very comfortable. Okay, you just have to tell me that you have one. It doesn't have to have one. Well, then you have to wear it. I'm a United States citizen. You have to wear your mask in public. It's a private property. That's something hanging off your ear right now. So just put it across. Not so you have your mask on. You know what? Know that I am not a member of Costco any longer. Okay, you want me to get that taken care of? Yes, please. All right, you'll have to put your mask on for me to do that. I will not. Well, then come back in another time, okay? Sure, okay. He's going to require the team. If you want to step outside here, I'll have him come meet you outside. Right here. Then you need to do that. That's our policy. Can I get you a chair outside? There's a place to sit.
I don't know if you're able to receipt, but we picked up 3 yesterday. And 2 got discounted prices for $30 off at the third one. Yeah, no problem.
Are you sure? Okay. We just get off to the side somewhere, yeah.
I'm the general manager.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to do this.
I have constitutional rights.
You have a choice to shop or not shop.
Okay, I'm
so if you like to shop,
I'm not shopping. Okay. I shop. What's that? I've given you a reason.
Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office says a man pulled a gun inside a Walmart during a fight about wearing a mask. The unmasked man was pushing an older man in a wheelchair Saturday afternoon at the Walmart in Royal Palm Beach. He and another shopper said some words. That other shopper was wearing a mask, and surveillance video shows the unmasked man give him the finger and pull a gun from his waistband. The sheriff's office says he threatened to kill the man before pushing the wheelchair into the parking lot, and the pair got into a white Chevrolet Equinox SUV and then took off. Anybody with any information about who the unmasked man is asked to call police. Katie Johnston for CBSMiami.com.
Henry joins us live from police headquarters. Henry, this is the second argument police have been called to this week involving someone not wearing a mask.
In this other incident, Deborah, a man got shot. Police say the alleged shooter, Jason Jackson, tried to get on a Via bus, but the bus driver said, hey, you can't get on the bus because you're not wearing a mask, which it is required. Well, apparently passengers got upset. One of those passengers, according to police, got off the bus and got into an argument with Jackson, and that is when police say Jackson pulled out a gun and shot at the rider, who was also injured. Now, the 36-year-old suspect tonight is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Reporting live downtown, Henry Ramos, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
The dispute started here at this Value Mart in Minden, Ontario.
They're a little bit scared and really shaken up because of what happened.
An elderly employee was sanitizing the shopping carts and offering masks to shoppers when the 73-year-old customer allegedly refused a mask, then assaulted the worker. He then fled in his vehicle, causing damage in the parking lot.
Police attempted to stop that vehicle, the suspect vehicle, and had to discontinue in the interest of public safety.
It ended about half an hour away outside what's believed to be the man's home. Ontario's Special Investigations Unit says 2 officers opened fire.
And ultimately, a 73-year-old male was transported to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced deceased.
At the Value Mart, employees say no one was seriously injured, but they're questioning whether they should be responsible for enforcing face coverings.
If we didn't have to force him and not remove him, but tell him that he couldn't come into the store, nothing would have happened really, right? He would have got his groceries and went along with his day.
Tonight, a deadly end to an ordeal that police say started with a dispute over a face mask.
Drop the weapon! Drop the weapon!
Body camera video capturing a Michigan sheriff's deputy shooting a man after he charged at her with a knife. He later died at the hospital. That suspect, authorities say, had earlier stabbed a 77-year-old who confronted him about not wearing a mask.
Wear a mask. Let's get through this together, and hopefully someday we'll be back to normal.
This as the public divide and list of violent encounters over masks grows. This one happening July 5th in Miami. The CDC director saying the virus could be controlled in weeks if people follow the guidelines.
Well, a brawl broke out in the middle of Target over a face mask. 2 men accused of assaulting a store security guard who told them they couldn't be there without a face covering rather. They are now facing charges. The whole incident caught on security camera. NBC4's Kim Tobin has more now from Van Nuys.
Good afternoon, everyone. And this is one of the incidents where the employees were trying to enforce that mask order here inside the Target store in Van Nuys. And then it quickly turned violent when the suspects were seen attacking those store employees, and it was all caught on camera. Surveillance video from inside the Target off Sepulveda Boulevard shows 2 men being escorted outside the store.
2 individuals came inside, which we later identified as transient, without a mask on.
But right before they reach the exit, one of the men turns around and punches a security guard in the face. The other employees jump in, fighting back. LAPD says the victim who was punched broke his arm as he was knocked to the ground. The 2 men, identified as 31-year-old Philip Hamilton and 29-year-old Paul Hamilton, were taken into custody shortly after. LAPD says they're seeing an increase in calls about people not wearing masks, and they don't want everyday shoppers to get involved.
Just to tell you what happened, it was Saturday when the 25-year-old suspect showed up at the Walmart with his girlfriend, or his partner anyway, to go shopping. The security guard was standing outside saying only 1 person per vehicle can come inside the store. It's, to keep people apart. It's been going on in several stores across the country. Well, the customer didn't like that. He got back into his vehicle and eventually, according to police, targeted the security guard and ran him down with his vehicle. Police say the security guard was actually on the hood. The driver made a maneuver and the man fell off the hood, smashed his head on the asphalt, and now he's in hospital he was in critical but stable condition, apparently breathing on his own, but really in rough shape. Now, the man is facing charges of armed assault with a vehicle, aggravated assault, and hit and run, and those could all change depending on the condition of the victim. As I said, he is breathing on his own, but he is in pretty rough shape.
Yeah, recently, a driver in New Jersey was in an accident. Police say they believe she passed out at the wheel because she was wearing an N95 mask for too long. Gio Benitez is back with that story. Hey, Gio.
Hey, Amy, Michael, good morning. Listen, this driver, we should start by saying she is okay this morning. But this got us thinking, when should you wear a mask and when shouldn't you?
This morning, images of a dramatic crash in New Jersey when a driver lost control and slammed her car into a pole. It turns out police say she was wearing an N95 mask. That's the kind of heavy-duty mask meant for medical professionals. Police say the driver was alone, wearing the mask for several hours, and ultimately passed out while operating the vehicle. Dr. Saskia Popescu specializes in infection prevention.
When someone is driving around, should they be wearing a mask if they are alone in the car?
If you're by yourself or you're driving your car alone, you don't need to be wearing a mask. If you go to a grocery store and social distancing is difficult, that's the environment you should be wearing a mask.
While police don't know for sure if the mask caused the crash, Dr. Popescu says passing out while wearing one is certainly possible.
We know that people wearing N95s means that their lungs and their hearts are having to work a little bit harder because it is a little bit harder to breathe.
This is the moment a customer is kicked out of a grocery store for refusing to wear a mask.
Out on the sidewalk.
He records the intense confrontation on his cell phone as he gets the boot.
Don't touch me!
But 23-year-old Nick Conley says he has a good reason for not wearing a mask.
What is your medical condition?
It is a panic attack anxiety disorder.
Film me. Mask, we have to leave. I have a doctor's note where I don't have to wear one.
The doctor's note reads, please excuse Nicholas Conley from any face mask requirements to the extent permitted by law due to a medical condition.
This video, yet another incident surrounding wearing masks in public. The woman in the video now speaking out to our station in LA.
This morning, face mask controversy after this outburst caught on camera in a Los Angeles grocery store.
So anyone harassing me to wear a mask, you guys are violating federal law. You get that? Get that on camera, ma'am.
This Trader Joe's shopper confronted for not wearing a mask in the store. She claims she has a medical reason not to.
I have a breathing problem. My doctor would not let me wear a mask.
The shopper telling ABC station KABC that she had gotten permission from the manager at the Toluca Lake store to go maskless, but accidentally went to the wrong location in North Hollywood, where she said she also got permission, and claims the incident began while she was shopping.
Right away, he started using obscenities at me, and I did what any normal human being, a woman, would do if she was being harassed by a man, not knowing if he's a crazy man. So I start yelling in self-defense.
Hey, wait, good morning to you. Yeah, airlines are now saying you must wear a mask if you're planning on boarding a plane, and they want you to keep it on. But one passenger refused to do just that. This morning, a battle over masks.
This is insane. Absolutely insane. So we don't even have a choice anymore.
That's political activist Brandon Straka refusing to wear his mask on a flight from New York's LaGuardia Airport to Dallas.
I'm just being told this is the law. I have to get off, but it's not the law.
This is what American follows. If you do not wear a mask, we're going to ask you to come off the aircraft. I'm asking you not to record me.
I'm sorry that you don't like it, but I mean, I don't like wearing a mask.
Well, I'm going to ask you to come off the aircraft.
American Airlines eventually kicking Straka off the flight, saying he refused to comply with the instructions provided by the flight crew.
You didn't even bother to ask me if I have a condition. Do you? I said yes. And she was like, well, do you have paperwork to prove it? And then I get kicked off the flight.
A source telling us Straka later claimed he couldn't wear a mask because of a medical condition. American says it cannot legally ask Straka to reveal that condition, and that he boarded the next flight without a mask. United, Delta, and American now say moving forward, they may ban passengers who refuse to wear face coverings, but that there are exceptions: kids, passengers eating and drinking, and those with medical conditions. With passengers now facing the new realities of traveling in the age of COVID-19, airports are looking at new ways to keep customers safe. Now starting today, another change at Los Angeles International Airport, a first-in-the-nation pilot program to check passenger temperatures. So let's show you how it works. If you're a passenger at LAX, you'll walk right through here under the watchful eye of a thermal camera. And if the system flags you, you'll be brought over here for a secondary screening to make sure that you don't have an elevated temperature. One camera screening passengers walking in, another rotating 360 degrees, scanning the terminal, zeroing in on any passenger with a temperature of 100.4 or higher. Will you prevent anyone from flying?
No, we will not prevent anyone from flying. But it should be noted that some of the international airlines that are operating out of this terminal are also conducting their own temperature check, and they would be able to prevent people from flying.
The young mother wrestled to the ground and arrested by New York cops last week for not wearing a mask apparently has changed city and police procedures. Cops will no longer be allowed to arrest people simply for not wearing masks. This according to Mayor de Blasio. And now an outpouring of protest about the way she was treated. Here's Eyewitness News reporter Stacey Sager.
What the cops did to me was wrong.
22-year-old Kalima Rozier of Brooklyn standing with her attorney today and speaking for the first time about this arrest last Wednesday inside the Barclays Center subway station. 6 NYPD officers eventually holding her on the ground after she refused to properly wear a mask in the city's subway. Authorities say she cursed at them, threatened to cough on them, and was told politely 3 separate times in front of her young son not to enter the subway without her mask properly pulled over her nose and mouth. Despite all of that, the mayor has still said it shouldn't have come to this.
Whatever else was happening in that moment is just not right.
Hey, man. Let the orange out. What the am I holding on to? Yo, you're gonna feel this, man. Look what the calling me, the leg. Take me close this door, man. I want all y'all too. Yeah. I need you to come downtown. You they just kicked me off the
John J.T. Culbeth appeared on harassment and traffic citations, and he refused to wear a face mask. Culbeth shared his side on the Lars Larson radio show.
When I checked in at the clerk's window, the clerk promptly told me, well, you need to have a face mask on. And I was confused and said, well, I don't, and I'm not going to because I have enough breathing issues as it is. She goes, well, the judge is going to disagree with that.
He did. Towery says Judge Larry Blake Jr. didn't back down on face mask requirements.
Said, you need to wear a mask. Again, he refused. The judge said, well, you don't really have a choice, essentially. And Mr. Culbeth said, well, then I'm just going to leave. And he left.
Culbeth says he tried to explain his health reasons for not wearing a mask.
That I have enough, respiratory issues as it is, but I'm more than willing to come back another day. And he didn't like that idea. And so finally I just said, fine, I'll just leave.
Minutes later, the police chief arrested Culbeth in the parking lot and booked him into jail for failure to appear and contempt of court.
He said, well, he issued a warrant.
Towery says despite multiple advance notifications of face mask requirements, Culbeth never called ahead to ask for special health accommodations. He says the court would have gladly made them. But was 2 hours in jail necessary?
I think he was acting within the scope of his authority and like
as a municipal court judge, putting
Right.
someone in jail for not wearing a mask is in the scope of his authority?
So he didn't put him in jail for not wearing a mask. He put him in jail for failure to appear. He left and for contempt. He left right in the middle of the hearing, left during the interaction with the judge and walked out. So was not wearing the mask part of the issue that certainly elevated this to the situation that it's become? Absolutely.
Judge Blake arraigned Culbeth in jail and set his next court date for July 22nd. Culbeth says the judge was clear.
When you come back on July 22nd, if you're not wearing a face mask or you don't have a doctor's note saying you're not legally required to wear a face mask, you're going to go to jail.
Okay, Maggie Vespa joining me now to talk about this story that, as the news loves to say, is sparking outrage. We're hearing apologies now. We have a trooper on paid leave, all after 4 Oregon State troopers went into a coffee shop and refused to put on masks.
Yeah, and to be clear, they refused to wear masks at any point when they were in the coffee shop, when they entered, when they ordered, because obviously once you're sitting down and drinking, you can't drink through a mask, and that's when they could, in theory, take them off. But they refused to wear them at any point. And this happened yesterday morning in Corvallis. The Oregonian broke this story this morning, and they say the owners of the shop, Allen's Coffee and Tea, gave them this surveillance video of the whole thing. So at the beginning, you see an Oregon State trooper walk in, no mask. Assistant manager Travis Boss told the Oregonian that he informed the trooper he needed a mask, to which the trooper replied. He says, Governor Brown has no authority to take our civil liberties. We aren't going to wear masks. And then he said, according to that assistant manager, F. Kate Brown. Seconds later,
In the video, you see 3 more state troopers enter, and Boss told the Oregonian they also refused his request to wear masks at any point. He said he was nervous and he filled their drink orders, even though he had turned other patrons away for doing the exact same thing. But the difference was, these guys were in uniform, and again, he was kind of scared. So at the end of the video, which lasts about 4 minutes, you see Boss walk to the table of state troopers. He told the Oregonian that his boss, the shop's owners, told him to tell the troopers to leave and that staff had called Corvallis police. He said as the troopers walked out, one of them said, "That's Corvallis for you."
Gillespie County could soon be exempt from the governor's order that requires masks in public. It's reporting only 19 active cases of COVID-19 as of today, but that is below the threshold of 20. And the Gillespie County Sheriff's Office says those numbers don't matter. It won't enforce deputies wearing masks. KVU's Madi Salazar tells us why the sheriff made that decision. Madi?
If you're traveling or living in Gillespie County, you might come across some sheriff's deputies not wearing masks. Sheriff Buddy Mills posted this on the sheriff's office's Facebook page. He says they don't want to disrespect Governor Greg Abbott and his order to wear a mask. Mills says if a deputy wears a mask, it could give a criminal possible tools to harm an officer. And because of recent allegations of law enforcement misconduct across the nation, the sheriff's office doesn't want to limit communication between citizens and deputies. According to the Texas Department of State Health Services, as of Monday, Gillespie County has 19 active cases, which means the county judge can fill out a form to opt out of the order, then submit it to the Texas Department of Emergency Management. However, if you make your way inside Gillespie County, the city of Fredericksburg is making sure residents are following the mask order. A couple of Fredericksburg store owners think this is the best idea.
COVID cases climbed to those new record levels. The fight over wearing masks turning into a legal and partisan battle. The Republican governor of Georgia going to court to stop the Democratic mayor of Atlanta from enforcing a mask order. Marcus Moore has all the details. Marcus, good morning.
Well, Tom, good morning. You know, Target is the latest retailer to announce that it will soon require masks in all of its stores to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Meantime, some governors are resisting calls to order statewide mask mandates.
The battle in Georgia over masks is heating up this morning. Governor Brian Kemp suing the mayor of the state's capital and largest city.
We shouldn't need a mask mandate for people to do the right thing.
After Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms defied his order, barring local leaders from mandating masks in public.
It's my belief that the city of Atlanta still has the appropriate standing to mandate masks, especially as it relates to buildings and places that we own and operate.
In the suit filed Thursday, Kemp's administration also fighting to block Bottom's attempt to return the city back to Phase 1 guidelines, eliminating dining at restaurants and only allowing residents to leave their homes for essential trips.
I am not afraid of the city being sued, and I'll put our policies up against anyone's any day of the week.
We know if you go outside, you see two types of people, those wearing masks and those not wearing them. And so far, the Centers for Disease Control recommends that you wear a mask. But the World Health Organization says it's not necessary unless you're infected or around someone who is. Last week, Seminole County issued an order requiring residents there to wear a face mask. But one business owner says that's unconstitutional. On your side's Ken Amaro caught up with his attorney.
The attorney in this case is also a Florida lawmaker, and he says when it comes to wearing one of these, it should be an individual choice, and no government should tell you when to wear one.
David Levitt is the client in the lawsuit. He runs a computer recycling business, but he's also the former Seminole County Libertarian Party chairman.
Is it politics behind this?
For weeks, Levitt used his social media accounts to fight to reopen Florida. This weekend, he went a step further and sued Seminole County over its face mask policy.
Does your client plan to wear a face mask?
No. Attorney Anthony Sabatini says 11 days ago, Seminole County issued an executive order that requires business owners in contact with the public to wear face masks.
Their executive order says that if you're within 6 feet of a customer or a person you're working with, you have to wear a mask.
Sabatini, a Florida lawmaker himself, says the order is illegal.
it's really just feel-good nonsense and bad policy and illegal.
Jay Zembauer chairs the Seminole County Commission. He told On Your Side that the lawsuit has no merit. Zembauer says, "We've never required all of our citizens to wear masks. We try to follow the CDC and state guidelines to address businesses that have employees coming in contact with the public. We are prepared to fight this lawsuit 100%. Sabatini is asking the court for an emergency injunction to stop enforcement of the executive order.
No government's ever made people wear masks in their own businesses. It's insane. It's stupid. But because of what's going on right now, people aren't really paying attention. It's a violation of the Constitution.
My rights are civil rights.
The mask issue leading to heated debates across the nation, sparking boos at this school meeting in Utah.
This is going to be brief, I think. This is the exact opposite of what we need to be doing. We are supposed to be physically distancing, wearing masks, and so all of our medical experts, our Department of Health, everyone is encouraging us to do that. This room is not complying with these health guidelines. This creates a health concern for this meeting. So I'm going to suspend the rules, and I'm going to make a motion to continue this entire meeting to another date.
Totally wrong. I think it's a political hoax, and I am against the masks.
And leading to the arrest of this Louisiana man accused of backing his car into an officer after refusing to wear a mask in Walmart.
Millions of Americans in cities like New York, Detroit, and Philadelphia are wearing face masks. But many black people fear they could now be labeled a threat if they cover their face to protect themselves. Jerika, good morning to you.
Good morning to you. You know, we interviewed several black men for this story, and all of them said that they pretty much felt like they were under attack when it comes to from the police or even in their community before this pandemic, and now worry that with wearing these face coverings, they could be seen as more of a threat.
He was like, either you show us your ID or you take your face mask off. It's a pandemic.
D'Angelo Jackson and his friend Jermon Best say they were shocked when an officer approached them in an Illinois Walmart back in March. Best says he recorded the moment a Wood River police sergeant followed them out of the store.
He proceeds to tell us that there's a city ordinance that we can't wear masks in a store.
The two young men say they were wearing surgical masks as they shopped for cleaning supplies.
We're being asked to leave for being safe.
The Wood River Police Department says it is investigating the incident, and the officer incorrectly informed the men there was a law against wearing masks.
We left the store to keep down confusion because the situation could have went farther than it did.
Best and Jackson say they uploaded the video to social media in an effort to raise awareness about black people who are afraid to wear face coverings during the coronavirus pandemic.
This is a cry for help from our community right here.
Best and Jackson are not alone in their concerns. A Florida doctor says he was profiled in April when he was stopped by police.
I don't know exactly what made him get out of the car and then put handcuffs on me.
Dr. Armin Henderson is an internist at the University of Miami Health System and tests the city's homeless population for coronavirus. He says when he was approached, he was removing bulk trash from his van. You can watch it all play out on Dr. Henderson's home security camera.
We were in front of my property, and then he took me in front of the car and proceeded to belittle me and to yell in my face.
The officer eventually let him go, but Dr. Henderson filed a complaint. Miami Police Chief George Colina released this video response on Twitter saying the department is investigating.
The City of Miami Police Department does not condone or accept profiling of any kind.
Dr. Henderson says he believes race played a role in the officer's actions.
It is a valid fear to think that, that if you have a mask on, you become another police target.
And as more people resort to wearing masks to try to stay safe from coronavirus, we may see situations like this. A woman went to the bank, and when she wouldn't take her mask off, she says the teller hit the panic button. Stephen Fabian has the rest of the story.
A bank teller called the cops on this woman because she was wearing an anti-germ mask with a big smile on it. She says the teller hit the panic button, sending the bank into lockdown.
Why can't I wear this? What is so threatening about my mask?
31-year-old Amanda Ullman says she wears a mask all the time because she gets sick easily, a concern in these days of the coronavirus crisis. Ullman says the trouble happened when she entered the bank in Dearborn, Michigan. A teller immediately asked her to take off the mask. She refused.
Why not just take it off for that short amount of time that you were inside the bank?
Because there's germs and bacteria everywhere, Stephen. Everybody knows that.
They are now calling the cops on her.
Ullman's boyfriend shot this video through the door as she stood with her hands behind her back, waiting for cops. He couldn't get inside because the doors had been automatically locked.
She's not threatening anybody. She's not doing anything. She's trying to protect herself against getting sick.
The first officer arrives and is buzzed in. Ullman tells her boyfriend what a bank official is doing.
I'm waiting for a supervisor.
Then another police officer arrives. Only then, Ullman says, was she allowed to leave. Ullman, who says she has a compromised immune system, was not charged.
It seems like wearing the mask and protecting yourself is extremely important to you. Would you even be willing to take the mask off right now, even for just like 5 seconds?
You might want to get a close-up on it, but, you know.
Not only does Ullman wear the mask, she has nose plug filters too.
The bank says it regrets the inconvenience, but says the policy is to ask for a brief removal of anything that blocks the face for safety reasons.
एक मात्र